All right, guys, today we are going to be reacting to Andrew versus former female pastor debate on chain. Let's jump in, guys.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, would you take quarrel then? Like, let's say a man's standard is he'd prefer to date a woman who dressed modestly. Do you take objection or quarrel?
No,
with
I think
that
that's
position?
preference, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. All right.
But aren't these narratives built around preference? Like, isn't that the very idea behind the narrative that you're talking about? So if you're saying a woman's dressing promiscuously, let's say she's all tatted up, she's dressed promiscuously, this type of thing, and you say, but that doesn't actually detract from the fact that you can be a powerful leader, or you can be this, you can be that. But isn't the reason the narrative exists in the first place because the preference of X group doesn't like that to begin with? So isn't that in a way kind of setting people up for failure?
I guess, but you're also talking about a standard of social norms versus just a preference, right? Those to me are two different things, right?
Social norms come from preferences, right?
Sure, a whole lot of people having a certain preference based on certain beliefs that can be really damning toward one gender or one race or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, whether they are or they're not, right? They're still coming from preferences. So if it is the case that these are coming from preferences, if you tell women, like, let's say most men have a preference against women who dress promiscuously and have tons of tattoos and things like this, right? At least, like, let's say, I don't know, high-powered executives or people like this who want a long-term relationship, right? The chances are they don't want their woman to show up with sleeve tattoos and dress promiscuously when they're around, X group. Isn't it kind of setting them up for failure to tell them that it's actually, no, you can reclaim this in some power position, which ultimately isn't even up to them. It's up to other people's preference, right?
In certain ways, but it's not so black and white as you're declaring it to be, right?
I'm not saying it's black and white. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think in certain ways, yes. If you're talking about like a top CEO executive position they're going in for, they can't just dress however they want. But it's more about embracing their sexuality in general and expressing it in whatever way feels good to them. And the idea that, and again, this is like the whole taboo.
And this is the feminist talking point right here. Embracing yourself, all these words that mean nothing. They sound good, right? Embracing, like you're getting something, right? Embracing, like all this is very subjective, but this is the witch talk. This is how they get these females riled up to do bad behaviors. And notice how she acting like she's there to help them out. Hey, and this is the thing about females. Females, they just only listen to themselves for some reason. I don't know why. They just like to listen to themselves, even though they know what their advice that they're giving is wrong. And this is where the argument of, the voting aspect comes to play. If there's a sector of our society that's not even try to put their own sex in a position of accountability, we cannot continue this crazy clown circus, man. She's saying all this stuff, and we all know, everybody here in the panel knows that what she's doing is putting people to go to failure. It's just putting people right into failure. And the thing is that all this stuff is just now, it's what is, popular now, right? Doing all the stuff. But this is just, I don't even know how in the hell this kind of generation is going to recover from this, guys. I really don't. What she's doing is destroying people's families, in my opinion.
Energy that we have in the society.
And that family, future.
Like,
in my opinion,
the respect goes out the window, right? Like, people aren't going to respect you, and that's very true for the most part.
I agree. I just think that isn't it counterintuitive? So if you're saying, well, this is socially taboo, which means the taboo came from preference. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be a taboo. Like, what would make it a taboo other than tons and tons of people prefer that it's not, happening, right? That's what a taboo would be. So if that's the case. If you're telling women to embrace this thing, which is taboo, then you're also essentially telling them that they're going to be at the mercy of all of these preferences
Yep.
against that taboo. How does that not set them up for failure?
Yeah, it just depends on how they're choosing to, because like for me, right, I'm on OnlyFans. Okay, that's not every woman, not even close to every woman, or even a large percent of it is going to want to express themselves that way. So I have the privilege of running my own business, so I'm not going to have anybody come to my throat.
OnlyFans own business. Really? Wow. Now we have a delusion here, guys. Letty, what you have is not even a business. It's a 1099, I guess, an independent contractor. But it's not a business. So, guys, I don't think OnlyFans is gonna just be here forever. This thing is gonna go down. Culture is gonna change, and I hope it just change for the better, right? And we not allow this, especially men. If we keep working ourselves, and I'm not afraid of her. And I'm not even worried about her. I'm worried about the simps. Because the simps are the one allowing this to happen, guys. That's the only reason why. Simps are the only people allowing this to happen. Emboldening people like her to just talk about this, kind of making her think that she have a business, that you only found in my girl, my daughter does OnlyFans. I'm okay with that. Listen, I don't even know where that is. This is crazy, man.
And telling me I can't dress a certain way or do certain
I
things.
had so much stuff to say that I don't even know how to put my thoughts together.
But it doesn't mean that a woman who's in corporate can't decide she's going to express herself in the way that she wants, in a way that feels good to her. Because I have women come to me, they're like, oh, I want to do OnlyFans. And because they know I do it, they're asking me for my advice. And like, I can't do it in the way that you do it. Can I do it anonymously? Whatever. And this is just an OnlyFans example. But it's just figuring out what feels good to them and feels aligned that they can push the edges on. And yes, at the same time, this is more of a movement of dismantling the things that are telling us as women we have to look a certain way, we have to cover ourselves in a certain way to be respected or to be respectable, and it has to fit in this box of other people's expectations. That's literally the number one regret of the dying. So this is much broader, is that people aren't regretting what they didn't accomplish and if they didn't freaking make a bunch of money. They're regretting that they lived a life for everyone else's expectations instead of being true to themselves.
Yo, this is that, bro. This is the manipulated talk, guys. That's the manipulated talk.
On their deathbed, wishing they got gangbanged. So the thing is like ultimately, if the idea here is preference based, right, and you're like, it's a movement against these social taboos, which is what you're after, right? Why wouldn't that instead create whiplash where the movement against those social taboos becomes even stronger? It's like, in some ways, right, I get what you're trying to do. You're saying going against the grain. Feminists have been doing this for decades and decades and decades, but the whiplash against it now is like nothing I've ever seen. Gen Z is becoming more conservative and less liberal, and they want more conservative women, not less liberal. More women are saying they want more conservative men and less liberal men, things like this. It seems like the movement towards tradition is backlash against exactly what you're trying to attempt, which is basically what feminists have been trying to attempt, sexual liberation, for about 70 years.
Well, and I agree, and also, it's not a movement for everyone. I'm not out here saying every fucking woman needs to be following this. Every woman should be coming on. But it is for the women who are in a place where they feel that angst. They feel this fragmentation of their body, of their life, because they're living this way and feeling this way, right? And so I'm not for everyone as a coach. I'm not for everyone as a speaker. And the movement isn't for every woman. But it is for the women who want to take back control in that way and actually be more self-expressed in a way that feels good, that lights them up, that they felt like they couldn't do before.
Yeah, but I guess
I don't know what the hell she said. If you guys know what she said, put it in the comment section. I don't know what she's trying to say.
Is it really control? So when you think about it, I'm just trying to think about it from your perspective, right? The idea of we're giving control back to these women who feel like they're maybe sexually oppressed, or that they can't express themselves properly sexually without being judged by it, right?
Sure.
But is that really control? Like, is that really control, or is it setting you up for failure? Ultimately?
Well, I don't consider it control.
Like, for instance, what are you controlling at that point?
For me, it's personal sovereignty. It's personal autonomy. It's personal agency.
Hey, there you go with these words, man. Man, she's like a prisoner. When you go to prison, have you guys watched this movie, the Chat Caller? The guy that's called Bottles, right? When Money comes, the main character name is Money. He comes to the yard. Bottle is the guy that just put all this prison talk in your mind. She's doing this stuff. She's putting this prison talk right here and there. She had that prison talk. That sounds good, but it just, you know, in your heart, this thing is not going to end well. But the way she's selling it is like angelical. She's bottled. She's basically bottled. The way she's talking is, but this is not for everybody. But, you know, at the same time, it's just good to you find yourself, embrace yourself, and, you know, all this stuff. It's just that prison talk.
Right. So it's not about like control and having control over even other people's opinions per se. I mean, the things that I've done, stepping down from church, from ministry, walking away from church, deconstructing my faith and being like, I'm no longer a Christian after that's what everyone knew me for. That was not easy. I had to get to a point where I actually was so grounded in who I was and loving myself and knowing judgment is coming from
in self-destructive behavior is loving yourself, man. I always say females like her, like the females that do like OF and the corn industry, is like the equivalent of a gangster. It's quick money, comes quick, right? But at the same time, that quick money runs out, right? The more you play that game, the quicker you're gonna go to do your deathbed. I'm not saying that that's gonna happen to her, but the equivalent for her will be the chain for society. But the mental health problems, their family being destroyed, all this stuff. That's my equivalent for this.
Every angle. I had no one for a whole year. No one in my corner.
But judgment comes a lot less when you convince people over to your side, right?
But that's the beauty of it. That's what I'm trying to say is I don't have any agenda to like prove my side to anyone. And I think that's where we all go wrong.
Nah, but we are here to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. You see? She don't want that smoke. But I don't want it. I don't want nobody to tell me. I'm not here to push any agenda. But we are here to tell you your agenda is wrong. That's what it is, guys. We're telling her that her agenda is wrong. That's what it is.
You can prove a point or you can influence a heart, but you cannot do both.
Wow.
So it has to come back.
No, I'm pretty confident you can not only win a point, but influence a heart at the same time. I'm 100% confident.
It's very uncommon when proving the point comes from an agenda of I'm right and you're wrong. That's all. That's what I mean by that statement.
Okay,
Andrew. Win over that person's heart, right? But this is why we have social taboos to begin with. People have been having these debates for thousands of years, right? This isn't the first time people with two different worldviews have ever clashed and not agreed with each other, right? But what are they clashing for? Well, they're usually clashing not to convince the opposite person, but to convince the people who are viewing the clash, right? Yeah. This is the same reason people show up to sporting events and everything else, right? They're showing up for the clash itself. They want to see which thing wins out, which thing it makes the most sense. It seems to me that if it is the case that there's a massive social taboo against the idea of this sexual liberation, that you would actually, instead of empowering women, be setting them up for failure by telling them that they should do everything in their power to go against what the preferences of most men are. Like, that seems so counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, that's not the goal. The goal isn't go against everything men have preference for. The goal is figure out who you are and what's aligned for you and where you're hiding parts of you and where you're shaming parts of you. That's what the goal is.
Well, then what is pussy power? What is pussy power except saying that you have power in your sexuality and its expression?
And that's a feminist, bro. That's where feminists really hold their power in their sexuality. Do you guys saw France march? These crazy witches, marching around Paris, protesting against fascism. I guess they had to take all their clothes out, and that way they can get attention, guys. That's what it is. They know their power. The power is their sexuality, so they use it.
The preference of most men is that when women express overt sexuality, right, they don't like it. They're like, wait, that makes you easy, or that makes you this, or that makes you that. They definitely don't have a preference for easy women, not most men. There's some men, I'll grant you, that do, but most men don't. So that's like, it just seems like it's setting people up for failure by that metric in a way.
Yeah, and that's a whole side topic because pussy-based confidence is not just about the idea of just getting them back to their sexuality and having it sexually expressed.
Well, I mean, if I said I teach a course on dick-based confidence.
Let me see what
this. Their sexuality.
Good women lost their lifetime back from me for doing online work. Attention can replace stability. pretty doesn't pay dividends, huh?
and have it sexually expressed.
Well, I mean, if I said I teach a course on dick-based confidence, right? Wouldn't you? I mean, what would your assumption there be? Your assumption there would be men are in charge, men are liberated, men do what they want, and we're gonna.
Yo, Brian has demons. Yo, they have a bunch of demons. He opened the portal of hell or something, man. What the hell's going on?
You know, we're gonna go bang a bunch of chicks. You know, like those would be the pre-assumptions which are built into that, and those would be reasonable assumptions, wouldn't they?
Yes, I'm sorry I got distracted by the comment.
Yeah, the comments are getting to her. Yes, because there's some truth to it, guys. Cat confidence mean that you're using your sexuality to just exploit it. That's what it is. She's trying to make it appear it's not the case. But the thing is, the females, all these females, they understand what she's doing, guys. And that's why they're not interjecting. They're not saying, but hold on. Are you using the cat for money or not? They're not doing that, guys, because they know what she's doing. And the sisterhood code cannot be broken at that moment. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you next one.